Finally heading out to Central Park. The video is starting actually in my neighborhood, heading to the subway station. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. I've been thinking about doing this since I moved back, ever since it was still hot in the summer. But look at that sky, there's not a single cloud. It's a beautiful day, perfect temperature. I just got up, had some breakfast, and I headed out. This is still my neighborhood. I'm on Big Avenue behind the park, and I take this all the way to the accessible subway station. It was really important to live close to an accessible subway station because having an elevator that takes me to public transit that's quick and convenient, it was a big deciding factor where to pick where I'm gonna move. But then, as I pulled up on this subway station that morning, I found out that the elevator was out of order. What are my options? I started looking at the subway map to figure out where the next accessible station is. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll just call a ride on accessible Uber. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna be pretty expensive because I wasn't planning on spending any money aside from subway ride. But wait a minute, my wheelchair has a lot of power in it and it can run for a lot of miles. How far is the next subway station? Okay, I guess I'm adding 45 minutes, 50 minutes to my trip to Central Park today. That's not too bad. Here we go. Let's get on to the next accessible subway station. I initially thought I might as well just stay under these subway tracks and follow this route all the way to the next accessible subway station. But I was getting a little chilly in the shade. Morning breeze. Kept looking at directions on my phone. Eventually decided to veer off and get away from subway tracks. Get back to them later. Eventually, I pulled up on a new subway station. This was my first time at this subway station, and it actually had a couple different lines in it, so I wasn't sure how to get to the D going uptown, because it seemed like the elevator just took to the end. Somebody pointed me to where I had to go. An employee and the young gentleman was super helpful. It was like, just cross over there and then take the other elevator, it'll take you to the D platform. And here I was, waiting for my subway ride to Central Park. I was super excited. It was my first time riding subways and taking these accessible elevators while filming with a camera on my chest. It was a really cool experience. And then coming out in Manhattan like this, in a wheelchair, different feeling because I used to work in Manhattan for years. I used to commute through Manhattan, and being back here on wheels, it's definitely an interesting experience, to say the least. But yeah, going up 6th Avenue from Rockefeller Center and all the way to Central Park. I was gonna get off actually lower in Manhattan, just make my way all the way to the park, but I was thinking about the wheelchair battery. I would have to stop somewhere and plug it in on the way back. But that turned out to be irrational fear. I had plenty of battery. The wheelchair runs for like 10 or 12 miles on a full charge, and I had the charger with me in case I ended up doing more than 10 miles in the park. Well, here we go, pulling up on the park. The whole time I was looking at my phone at Google Maps to make sure I was headed exactly where I wanted to go. Took all the trails that I was always looking at and never made it to on foot because I was always with company or I just didn't have time. I never had an entire day going to Central Park doing nothing but just cruising around, enjoying the views. Here's a bridge. By now I was thinking maybe start making my way back. But first I want to look at a couple different places. First, the view of this lake from up here. I didn't make my way to the fountain, but looking at it from up here was good enough. And then I crossed the street and went down the mall. That's what they call this big tiled walk here. This is the mall. A lot of artists, a lot of art being sold, a lot of art being made, and a lot of crafts and a lot of stuff just being sold to tourists. It wasn't an exactly smooth ride. The pavement has seen better days, but it was worth it. Awesome vibe down here. Made it all the way down. Then it was time to get out of the park. On the way back, I decided to go to Columbus Circle simply because I could just ride the D train from here all the way home in South Brooklyn. Last time I was at Columbus Circle was maybe 14, 15 years ago. Big subway station. It is fun navigating these subway stations in a wheelchair, honestly. Everything is so smooth and everyone is so friendly, and you don't feel like you're commuting for a couple hours at a time, even if that's how long it takes to go from point A to point B sometimes. It's a big city. Going down from South Brooklyn to the Bronx, for example, could take 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And back at my neighborhood. This is my subway station. The one that the elevator was out of order in the morning. It was working in the afternoon. Home sweet home. All in all, this was a really fun trip. I'm planning to go back, especially in the winter. There's snow and people ice skating. That's gonna be another fun trip. I look forward to it. Hoping you guys will stick around. Bear with me as I'm learning to put together these videos. I'm gonna be doing more FaceTime in the future. It's not gonna be just POV the whole time. I remember going through this park and going to check the public bathrooms if I could take a leak, but I decided I'm just gonna hold it and go home and then maybe head back out to get something to eat. To put my situation in perspective, for about 4 years I was not able to leave my house when I lived in San Diego. No autonomy. This is a dream.